everyone, my name is Gina, and today I'm going to teach you how to make delicious cold brew coffee at home. So I'm going to show you my favorite ways to do this. There are a couple others that I'll touch on, but these two are my favorites. So first, you can buy cold brew coffee that comes in a box like this. And we'll just say cold brew on it, and inside each box comes a little packet that looks like this. Each packet in your box will make one pitcher of cold brew coffee. And in each one of these little packets are two of these little coffee filter bags that have ground coffee inside. So, in order to make this, you're going to need a pitcher. This is the pitcher I'm going to use, and it needs 4 cups of cold water. Okay, once you've added your cold water, you just need to add those coffee filter bags, like this. All right, so you'll notice that they are kind of floating in the water. That's okay. Over time, they will soak up the water and they'll sink to the bottom, and that way they'll be able to brew a little bit better. You'll also notice that this pitcher is not all the way full. That is the correct way to do it. We'll add water in the morning. So we'll just add the lid, and I will put this in my refrigerator, and in the morning we'll make the next steps of our cold brew coffee here. The other way that I like to make cold brew coffee is using a French press like this one. French press might seem a little bit intimidating at first, but trust me, it really isn't. And they're really not all that expensive. Usually a French press is about the same price as maybe a cheaper coffee pot. So maybe do this instead of a coffee pot. It is pretty inexpensive and makes superior coffee in my opinion. So first, let's remove the lid. And you're going to need some ground coffee, and I'm a Starbucks fan, so I chose the breakfast blend. With your French press comes a little spoon like this one here, and you're supposed to add 1 scoop of this coffee for every cup of water. And my French press holds 5 cups of water. So take your spoon and we'll add 5 spoonfuls. Okay, so that is 5 spoonfuls of coffee, and you can see it in the bottom there. And next we're going to add boiling water to this ground coffee. Now I am using a regular kettle that I just heated the water on the stove. You can use an electric kettle if you want, or you can just boil water in a regular pot on the stove. Now I'm only filling to that first metal portion of the French press. See how hot that is, steamy. Okay, so I only filled there because I'm going to take my spoon and I'm going to stir up all those grounds. There's a lot of them, so it's kind of, you want to mix them all up. Oh gosh, it smells good already. So this keeps it this gets everything mixed in. If you were to fill it all the way up and then stir it, it's okay. It's just a little bit harder. So this is just a little bit of a trick to make it easier. Then you take your kettle again, and you're going to fill all the way to the bottom of that top silver portion of the French press. All right, so right about to there. So we're pretty much done. I leave it right here. I fill to about here because this lid is so large. You don't want to, make it overflow or anything when you add the lid. So we're going to put the lid on right now, but we're not going to depress the plunger. Don't do this yet. The coffee needs to brew for about 4 minutes before you do that. And once we've waited 4 minutes, we will push down that plunger, let the coffee cool a little bit, and then just like our pitcher we have here with the ground coffee in the little bags, we will add this to the refrigerator as well and let it cool overnight. So there are a few other ways that you can do brewed coffee this way. You can use a regular coffee pot and just fill a regular carafe full of coffee, wait for it to cool, and then add it to a pitcher and put it in the refrigerator overnight for it to cool. You can also buy in little bottles. It's like a condensed version of cold brew coffee. It's just really, really strong cold brew coffee. And all you do, that one's pretty much ready to go. You pour a little bit of the cold brew coffee in there and some water to thin it out, or milk, depending on what you want to do. But that's how you do that. So these are the ways we're going to do our cold brew drinks. I will see you tomorrow so that we can wait for this to cool and move on to the next step of making our fun coffee drinks. Hi everyone, we're back. It's been about a day and our coffee has finally had a chance to cool off. So the only thing I did off camera was I took this pitcher that was only half full of water and had those ground coffee filter bags in here. I just removed the bags and filled this the rest of the way up with cool water. So this is now ready to drink. And the next thing is I have removed the French press from the refrigerator, and this is also cooled off overnight, and this is ready to drink as well. So either one of these will work for these cold brew drinks. They're just ready to go, and we can start making our specific drinks now. Of course, you can always drink cold brew coffee plain. That's usually how I like to drink it, but sometimes it's fun to dress it up. And the first way we can dress it up is a really simple way. We'll just be adding a few things like sugar, cinnamon, nutmeg, and milk. So let's get started. For our first coffee drink, we're going to begin by just adding some ice. So I use ice trays at home. If you have an ice maker, that works as well. Just place them in the glass. And there you have it. Go ahead and pour some of your cold brew into the cup. Make sure and leave a little bit of room for your milk. Maybe about that much room. And we'll take some milk just to top it off, a little bit of cream. I like to use whole milk, but you can use non-fat, you can use 2%, whatever you prefer. So there's a little bit of milk in our coffee. It's looking good already. And I'm just going to add a little bit of nutmeg and cinnamon to the top. To add a little flavor. And you can do as much or as little of any of these as you like. You can also add sugar instead of cinnamon or nutmeg. And there, we'll just stir it up, get rid of all those little pieces. And there is our first delicious iced coffee drink. The next drink we'll be making is something I'd never tried before I started researching these recipes, and it's so good. I'm glad I found it. It's also really, really easy. So we just take, again, our regular coffee cold brew mix over here, and we're going to add a little bit of sweetened condensed milk to it. So this is what it looks like. It's really inexpensive at the store. I think I paid like $1 for this little can, and it goes a long way because it is really sweet. So I'll show you how to do that now. So the first thing that you're going to do is the same as before. We're going to add some ice from our ice trays. Because it's nice to keep these drinks cool. Oop, there you go. And then we're going to add our cold brew coffee. Sorry, I have some playful puppies in the background. And leave a little bit of room for our sweetened condensed milk. And this stuff is pretty thick, you'll see as I pour it in. And just a little bit, because look at that, a little goes a long way, and it is, like I said, very sweet. And then we will just stir that up. And there you have it, another delicious cold brew coffee recipe. The final recipe I have to share with you is the one that I think is the most exciting. This is the one where we are going to be adding some either caramel syrup or Hershey's chocolate syrup to ice trays and our cold brew coffee mixture, and using those frozen ice cubes of coffee and caramel or chocolate to add over milk. So it starts out as kind of a more creamy drink and gets stronger and stronger as your cubes melt into the milk. So it's really good, and I'll show you how to do that right now. So for this recipe, we're going to add, as I said, either Hershey syrup or caramel syrup. I'm going to use caramel for this. So the first thing we do is we take our cold brew and we just pour. I'm going to do the whole French press worth in here. You can also use, like I said, the cold brew here. It's really up to you. Make sure the spout, so pour that in to our measuring cup. I'm just using a measuring cup because it's going to be easier to pour later on. So there we are, it's all the way empty. And then we take our caramel syrup and just squirt some in, like maybe like that. I just kind of go for it, I don't measure that at all. Take our spoon and make sure it's all stirred up, and you can see it changing color maybe a little bit as I stir. Make sure it's really even throughout. And just before I finally put this in my ice cube trays, I'm going to taste this to make sure that it has about the caramel flavor that I want. And that definitely has a lot of caramel flavor. So I'm going to keep it this way, but if it's not sweet enough, go ahead and add some more. And the next step is to take an empty ice cube tray and fill it up. So you can just be careful, fill each little one all the way until they're all full, just like that. And then you just freeze that in the freezer. Once they're solid, they'll look something like this. These are ones that I did last night. So just go ahead and pull a few of these out. These are stickier than regular ice cubes. So there's one. And I'm just gonna fill it all the way up because this is not gonna water down my coffee drink at all. Oh gosh, it's harder to tell than it looks. There we go, just dump it on the counter. There we go. So I'm gonna fill this all the way up with ice cubes to the top because we won't be adding any other ingredients to this. And we will take our milk and pour it over the ice cube. So these ice cubes are actually chocolate, and the ones that I just made in front of you were caramel. And look at how good that looks already as the ice cubes are melting. You can kind of stir it up a little bit to get a little bit more of that color. So like I said, this will start off as a very creamy drink, and as it melts, it'll get stronger and stronger. Doesn't that look delicious? And all of these were made at home. And that is all there is to it. I hope you enjoyed these recipes. If you have any other ones that you've tried that you think are really great, please let me know about them in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye everyone.